First of all, thank you, Mary Angela, very much for inviting me. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Bess Wray, and I'm the owner of Human Touch Home Care. And this is my associate, Judy Dorsheimer. She's a community liaison for Human Touch. And a very experienced lady who is a retired RN and has much experience doing assessments for individuals. This workshop is There's No Place Like Home, so we all know we're at the right place. You've made the decision to stay in your own home. This empowering workshop is a practical how-to survival guide, providing tools to help you evaluate your physical environment and organize your finances and get you on your way to a safe, happy, independent life in your own home. We now know, after experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic and continuing with it, that remaining in our own home brings us more than comfort as we age. It brings us safety, freedom, connection, independence, and all the things that are important to us. In our own homes, we make the rules and do not turn over our autonomy to an institution. I once heard a lady say that I went to hear her speak, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, so I can't credit her, but she said, "I have never met anybody who woke up one morning and said, 'Yippee, today's the day I'm going to be institutionalized.'" Nearly all of us wish to remain in our own homes as we age. With a careful look around our homes, we can analyze and adapt our surroundings for maximum comfort and safety. As I've said before, it has been a rough year and a half, but some good did come of it. I spent a lot of time listening to friends and colleagues asking me some difficult and pointed questions. What if I get sick or become temporarily incapacitated? Who's going to take care of my spouse, my elderly parent, me, till I'm back on my feet? From these conversations, my husband and I, in consultation with Judy, created the Survival Guide. This guide does not directly answer the questions we were hearing. Instead, it is designed to help you remain independent for as long as possible. And when you do need help, it provides your chosen and most trusted family or friend with the information they will need to step into your shoes temporarily. First, though, you have work to do to evaluate your home environment and organize your finances, and make any adaptations to your physical environment which may be necessary. The step-by-step survival guide, copyright 2021, is free. I am not selling it. Rather, I have created something which came out of listening to fears and hopes during this past long year and a half, which I want to share. And if you want to discuss any aspect of your personal situation with me, you can reach me at the number on the brochure or Judy and set up a time to come in and talk.
What was your name again?
My name is Bess, B-E-S-S, and I'm the owner of Human Touch.
Bess.
Bess.
What?
Ray, W-R-A-Y.
Thank you. Like Faye Ray.
Yes.
Got it.
And you can set up a time if you want to come in for a one-on-one conversation. What I want to do now is just go, excuse me, talking with a mask on.
It's horrible.
It is.
We're far enough away from you. I don't think you really need the mask on, do you?
What do you all think?
I think you could take
We're all
I think you
vaccinated.
can
We're all
take it. We're all
vaccinated.
vaccinated.
If I pull up your speaking, this may be better.
We're all far away from each other.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Once I start, it's tough. I've had both Moderna for months, so.
We had Pfizer.
Okay, good. And I think Mary Angela's done a great job here, providing a safe environment.
Oh, yeah.
Survival guide. I want to take a look at it. My husband had a knee replacement 2 years ago. and he gave detailed instructions to his wonderful home health aide on how to prepare his lunch to his specifications. This was the first time he had been incapacitated for any length of time, and we got through it. His caregiver was absolutely amazing, caring for him with kindness and skill. She took care of things which were definitely not part of her job, but she knew were important to him. He could not essentially walk or do anything the first few days, and she went out into the yard, got the bird feeders, brought them in, filled them, and put them back out. Because
But-
all he could do was
But
look at
that's-
those birds.
Don't you go to rehab for that with our insurance?
He was not. He was sent home.
I don't understand that, because I went to rehab for 3 weeks.
Some people do. It may depend on your surgeon.
Yeah.
But the kind of surgery he had on his knee, it was just on one knee, and he was sent home after 24 hours.
Ooh,
And
So it was
sometimes,
exciting. It was exciting.
and sometimes now people do it, it's just not, you don't even stay overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in and out.
I've never heard of that.
Well, it's very,
It depends on the
Common now.
surgeon, I think.
Even when you have insurance?
yeah.
Yes, he
In
had
and
good
out,
insurance.
because the theory is that
Good
it's
insurance.
healthier for you not to be in the hospital or in rehab or any of that sort of thing. And again, it's healthier for you to be at home.
Not me.
But
I guess my difference was I lived alone. So
Oh,
I
yes.
couldn't go home, and I
Oh,
had
yes.
a 2-story house with no bathroom on the first floor.
Oh, yes.
Well,
That
I think
all
that's
makes
the
a difference.
right?
He had one-story living and a spouse at home,
Oh, wow.
and they
well,
sent him home.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
you,
I'm
but-
glad you, please, anytime you have a question,
Because
Bring it
that's
up.
important to us. What are we paying insurance for if we
Yes.
can't go to rehab?
yes.
So
Out
the
of-
poor guy was shuffled out.
Yes, he was. Oh,
Kicked out, I
and
should
just
say.
to tell you, there was a trip back to the ER the next day because they sent him home with a PICC line in his leg
Oh.
and it needed attention. So we had to turn around, drive to the ER, get attention, which we did, then get home. And the VNA was great. They came.
So you would go in and take care of him?
That's
this.
what Human Touch does.
Okay.
But this is different.
Oh,
I want to get on with this.
okay, I'm sorry.
This survival guide is organized into 2 parts, home and finances. They are divided up so that the financial piece can be removed and kept off-site, not in your house, given to a trusted other, or put in a safe. Because it's got information in it that may be vital, but you don't want sitting around your house.
Sure.
And then there is an attached safe-at-home checklist, a very comprehensive room-by-room checklist from the American Occupational Therapy Association. Safety and accessibility are 2 of the keys to staying in your own home. And listed below are a few very important areas to take a look at now. You may have already done this, but if you haven't, or you have a friend who hasn't, here we go. Once you have identified the areas that need improvement, you will need to find a good contractor, electrician, or handyman who has experience with the modifications you need.
Good luck with that.
There are a few out there, and you might get a recommendation from a friend. You might even get a recommendation from my husband, from me, because we've used a few people.
Good.
Home Matters is part A. Does your house have a first floor bathroom? Yes, no. If no, can you modify your home to add a first floor bath or half bath? Is your main bathroom equipped with grab bars and other bathroom safety features, such as non-slip tile or other non-slip features in shower or tub? Next, is your washer and dryer in the basement? Yes, no. If yes, can you add a stacking washer and dryer unit in your kitchen or upstairs? In other words, can you relocate these appliances? I have a friend who wants to stay in her own home. Washer and dryer are down the basement. I haven't been able to get her to relocated or put in a stacking. She says, I've solved it. I've solved the problem. I take the pillowcase full of dirty clothes and I heave it down the
That's
basement.
bad.
And then I go down the stairs holding on to both rails. And that's how I get down. I did not ask her how she gets the clean clothes and herself back up.
I didn't either. We have the same friend.
Not easily, I have that too.
You have it too. Moving on, do your stairs have railings on both sides? This applies
Yours
to
do.
indoor and exterior steps. Are kitchen cabinets arranged so that you can reach items you need without using a step ladder? Yes, no. Do your outdoor walkways have non-slip finishes and railings? Yes, no. Are exterior paths and entrances well lit? Have you installed spotlights with motion sensors? Well, I have to confess I do not answer yes to all of these questions, but I do answer yes to that one. We have installed spotlights with motion sensors. And then inside, in the house we live in now that has one-story living, there was no overhead lighting. And I can't go into a dark room and find a light. Some people solve that with timers. We had somebody put in hard hats. High hats, they're called?
Oh, yeah.
High hats. So now, in every room in the house, I can just flip a switch and then enter the room. I
That's good.
don't ever have to enter a dark room.
There's something that I ordered from a little catalog. It's very cheap, $5 or $6. It has a sensor on it,
Mhm.
and when you get close to it, you don't have to be real close. A pretty bright light goes on.
Oh, that's nice.
And
That's
then also
inside
at the
your
hardware store, they sell what
Nice.
looks like a light switch.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put that like close to the entrance of the room, just turn it on, and it's a big bright light, and they're real easy. I
So
have
there
them in-
are solutions to this that are available now
Now,
that don't
yeah.
cost you a whole lot of money. You could probably have done something other than have the electrician come and put in hi hats, but that's what we did. Now I know. I'm learning too. B, insurance policies. This is again information in case you become incapacitated temporarily. Health insurance. I am insured by. Name, type and name of policy. Questions may be directed to. Who is your agent? Do you have a supplemental insurance policy? A lot of us on Medicare do have a supplemental policy. Name of company. Prescription drug plan, yes or no. Name and number of your pharmacy. That could be important. Life insurance. Name, type, name of policy. Questions may be directed to. Again, home, fire, and auto. I am insured by. Name of company. Type, name of policy. Questions may be directed to. Do you have any specialty insurance policies? Boat, mobile home, art, furs, jewelry, stamp, coin, gun. I am insured by. Same information. Name of company, type of policy, and your contact. Then we move on to home maintenance, which is practical. Heating and cooling, the location of your thermostats, the settings of the thermostats. Somebody might need to know this. The location of the furnace, detail instructions on how to reset it if it shuts off. The heating and cooling contractor who
Call the,
maintains your system.
Call the plumber.
Exactly, call the plumber. Contact information. Do you have a yearly maintenance contract? The name of your electrical, natural gas, fuel oil, or propane provider, if not mentioned above. Electrical system. And my husband's aide needed to know this because a fuse did blow when she was taking care of him. Location of the fuse box. Name and contact information of your electrician.
Does anybody have fuse boxes anymore?
Yes.
We have a panel down the
Yeah.
basement with switches that
Switches.
trick,
Circuit
Yeah,
breaker.
circuit breakers.
But I mean, the old fuses are the ones you
Oh.
have to buy and plug in.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, nobody
Well,
has.
that's just an old term you have in your paperwork there.
Oh, thank you for telling me that.
We've
Okay.
moved on with the times.
Yes, good, thank you, thank you. And then additional household services. Who mows the grass? Do you have a handyman? Do you have a cleaning service?
I'd like one.
What's their name and contact information? The content in the survival guide is not legal advice and is not to be used or relied on as such. This does not take the place of advice or instruction from your lawyer or your power of attorney. Talk with your family and your lawyer before sharing any of the information in the guide. And then the second part, which we designed so you could just pull it out, is financial matters. Thank you, Judy. Welcome.
Thank you. I apologize for being late.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
It may not be financial matters. As I said, it may not be wise to keep this information in your home, so it has been created as a separate section of the guide. You should consider having someone you trust hold it for you, such as a trusted family member, an agent under power of attorney, or your legal advisor. And we did run this past our legal counsel. Identify the name and locations of all your bank, investment accounts, and insurance accounts. Include both online usernames, passwords, and phone numbers with names of contact personnel. So it has space for you to fill in the answers, and then you can always take notes on the back of the page in front. How are your monthly bills paid? Are they paid by autodraft or similar automatic direct payment arrangement? Make a note of each monthly bill, i.e. rent, mortgage, health insurance, electric bill, how it is sent to you, when it is due, how and from which account it is paid. If paid bills are recorded electronically rather than in a paper file, include the username and password for each account. So then there's some space for you to write the name of the bill, how it arrives, and how you pay it. Just in case somebody again has to step into your shoes temporarily. I'll just say something personal. 2 years ago, my brother, whom everyone adored, passed away suddenly. And there was a lot of talk at that time among friends and relatives, we have to sell the house, we have to sell the house. And this is no, you don't have to sell the house. You don't have to sell the house. If you're laid up temporarily, if you can clarify what it is somebody would have to do to step into your shoes temporarily, you can stay right where you are. You can empower yourself to stay in your own home. Credit card accounts. List each credit card and how it's paid each month. The name of the card, when the bill arrives, the payment method. Again, just if you have to go onto here, do that. Professionals. My accountant, tax preparer is. Are your tax payments up to date? My primary care physician is. Do you have a living will? Who has copies of it? My lawyer is. Do you have a last will and testament? I think when we want to be empowered and to stay safe in our own homes, a legal counsel is a good person to have and to know. Have you given someone your legal power of attorney so they can oversee your medical business affairs if you are incapacitated? My power of attorney is. My safe deposit box is located, name and location of bank.
Your power of attorney, does the attorney draw out that paperwork, or can you do it yourself, the power of attorney?
I think there is paperwork that is good to get, and you then fill it out yourself
Okay.
and give it to him.
And you can go online and find that paperwork. Just put in living will or power of attorney and some.
I mean, I know I've got the living will and I've got all that, but when you say, do you have a power of attorney, it's like, oh, why? Do I,
Right.
You do
I'm not
need a
sure.
durable power of attorney.
okay, I think I do have
I
that.
think your
okay.
doctor would give you that in those
And
papers.
you need one for healthcare and one for
Yeah.
legal.
Yeah, medical and the other.
So
Medical
you need
direct-
two. Maybe they're the same person, but you need two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's really important because, when you're having surgery and having your knee replaced, and you're under anesthesia,
Right.
you're not competent to make a decision.
Sure,
And then, when that's all over, yeah.
okay.
One thing I wanted to say about this book, it comes apart so that you can take the pages and give the pages about home maintenance, etc., to whoever, your family or whoever you think is going to oversee that, without having to give them the financial part if you don't want
Right.
to.
Okay.
Right.
You know, just take the back off and you have the pages to.
And then 6 and 7, back on page 6 and 7, my safe deposit box is located. Name and location of bank. It is jointly held, is it jointly held by you and a designated survivor, or must your survivor wait until your will is probated to open it? So that's a question my lawyer wrote. And then 7, my social security check and other pensions are deposited automatically in my account with name and location of bank.
Would you rather we wait till the end for questions or?
Anytime you can interrupt.
I'll tell you, I just thought of something with that one, because I went through this recently. My mother lived to be quite old. She died at 100. So
Wow.
we had many years of taking care of her from 93. She lived in her home till 93.
Wow,
From 93 to 100, we went through all of this.
right.
We know you need medical director, durable power of attorney. And the key thing that we learned was that when she was, at the end, when she was dying, or before, we did it before, you have to have someone who can write checks on her account.
Okay.
It's very important, because she had money in her savings account, checking account.
Mm-hmm.
When if she were to die and no one could write a check, we couldn't have access to any of that money.
Pay the bills.
Or pay
Oh.
for her funeral, or pay
Okay.
for anything, and she wanted us to, she had good money to do that. So
Good
we
point.
learned that, my brother-in-law became the person
Okay,
so you have to have a co-signer on your checking account.
A trusted person.
I do.
You have a co-signer, I'm just.
All right,
that
well,
was-
good.
This is gonna get revised. Thank
We
you.
didn't know until later
I
on.
also learned that
Yeah.
when my aunt passed away.
Yeah,
You
that's-
learn it from
That's right.
Yes, you
through
do.
it.
Isn't that part of the power of attorney? You appoint somebody as power of attorney?
Yes.
It has to be put
No,
up in the bank.
bank is a.
Yes.
is a
The bank has to
signature on
say
the bank.
like Lydia and Mary Jane.
Well, I know when Jack got sick and when he passed away, I just became I got appointed as power of attorney.
Well, he probably had turned over his money to you at
Yeah,
that time.
he didn't
There
have
was
any
nothing to turn over, but I'm
Well,
saying I could,
But it's different, Lydia, I know.
It's
because
No,
different.
you
you
have
Okay.
to-
I went to the bank and I put Richard on my checking
Yeah.
account with me.
okay,
It says Maria Leps and
Yeah.
or
Okay.
Richard,
Or.
sorry,
Okay.
or Richard,
Or.
okay.
or,
So either one can sign a check.
yeah,
Thank you for that.
That's very, very.
yeah, the bank has to do that.
Yeah. People
All right,
are
that's
getting
ve- that's
much
very
more
good.
aware of these things, and they're all protective.
Yes,
They protect you and your money.
yes, yes.
So that basically gets us through the survival guide. And then the safe at home checklist is from, I'm sorry, the print is so small, is from National Association of Occupational Therapists. And
Are they all washed out like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
which one, let me see.
no, mine is not.
I
Mine
can
is-
hardly read this, it's all,
Mine is all nice and
Oh,
dry.
I'm sorry.
I could use it again, too.
Is yours washed out too?
We'll switch.
Mine's perfect. Sorry.
But this is a very comprehensive list
Yeah, I
of
like
what you should take a look at in your home.
it.
What we did with the survival guide, talking to Judy and associates, was hit the highlights. This is more detail oriented.
I like details.
Good. Well, that's what the Safe at Home checklist has. What I really would like is to see if anybody here has questions that we could answer or help you with today.
Well, I don't know, I have another comment. I didn't know how you were going to, I thought perhaps you were gonna say, here's what we suggest if you're gonna stay in your home. Oh, these are your suggestions, get the handrails and all that.
Right.
But there's other little tips, again, I learned from my mother, who had several incidents with the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
And the ambulance suggested to us that we keep in the freezer of my mother's home, her refrigerator freezer, there's a tube that the ambulance home, that people give you, and you can get it yourself. And the ambulance drivers, at least where my mother lived in New Jersey, were trained to go to the freezer and see if this medical info tube was there.
Oh,
Oh.
yes.
And this medical info tube has your blood type, contact,
Oh.
allergies, all that kind of thing.
You keep that information in the
In the
freezer?
freezer.
Yeah.
They're,
Oh, okay.
they're taught to look in the freezer first when they go to a
Never
home.
knew
Let's
that.
say the
I never
ambulance
knew
goes
that
to a
either.
home
Sure.
and there's an old person just plastered over there.
Right.
No child, no neighbor.
Lives
They
alone.
don't know what's
And
going
it's
on.
called a medical information tube. I've never heard of
It's
it.
plastic.
Plastic tube.
My mother's was yellow and it was right in the freezer. And we always checked to make sure it was in there.
And keep it in the front of the freezer.
Yes,
So
it's
that somebody could
accessible.
grab it.
Yeah,
In the
It
freezer.
doesn't help if it's in the bottom of.
that's right. Oh, under the peas.
Yeah.
Now, your mom lived in New Jersey. Do they have that in
I
Pennsylvania?
don't know. I'm asking.
Where do you live in
In
Pennsylvania?
Lafayette.
What
So
information
you
should
would
be
be-
in there?
Yeah, I'm
Allergies,
thinking
what
of
medicines
blood,
you take.
Wait a minute.
Barron Hill, Lafayette Hill.
Yeah, the Barron Hill Firehouse. I would suspect they have something
Medical
like that, yeah.
information.
I never heard of it
Yeah.
before. It's a medical information tube.
Right. The other thing, it is not a bad idea to have.
I'm gonna
Let's find out
plastic-
about
a
local-
bag of peas in your
So
freezer. You can
allergies,
use
Yeah.
a cold pack.
Okay.
medicine,
So, yeah, A
prescriptions.
brutal ball.
Well, now that we're.
Are you
we
diabetic?
order
That
all this stuff from CVS and I can't get enough of it, I ordered those packs.
Oh, you have the real thing.
Yeah, the real thing, I don't need the peas, I'm eating the peas.
What did you order?
The ice pack from the CVS, you know, the stuff we get free every month.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
nice one, it's blue suede, it bends to your
Oh,
arm.
yeah, that's, I think I told you
Yeah, you
about it.
told me
Yeah,
about
I
it.
do, they're fabulous.
Yeah.
They're the best. And then also, I'll tell you what CVS has. For people, if you get cold or you have an injury somewhere, it looks like a velvet shawl, but it's a pretty good size. And all around it, it has heating elements. And in fact, I used it last night because my feet were cold. It's pretty
Oh, I'm
long.
gonna get
It
that.
goes like
Yeah.
it's $20-some. It goes the length of your body. It is the most comfortable, cozy thing that you could ever
Better
have.
than a man, huh?
Tell me again what it's called.
And it has a little switch on it, and you can make it whatever you want. It's much better than those heating pads that are plastic and all. This is just so soft and comfortable.
I'm gonna get that.
And that's just called what? What's it called?
Heating shawl.
It's like a heating shawl.
Okay.
CVS has it, and also CVS has something that they're not always in stock. But it's something that you can either put in the microwave or in the freezer.
Mhm.
It's the best one I've ever seen. If you have pain anywhere, your neck, you can put on any part of your body. It's so. It goes all the way, like from the top of your neck down, all around your shoulders, and it comes
Oh, yeah,
down.
you've been keeping this a secret.
And I've told you girls about it.
I didn't know it was like a shawl.
No, that's something different. They're two different things.
She jumped to
But
it.
that's, if you have pain anywhere, especially if you get neck pain or back, they're fantastic. And again, I think it's called, and I'll have to try to think of the name of it. But they're all kind of in the same section of CVS. And they're fabulous.
And we do
And like-
get freebies now each month
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we do.
through our supplements or,
I get $60 every 3
$60 every
months.
3 months.
Yeah.
We have
Which will
Keystone
pay for this.
65
That's what I have.
I have that,
Keystone
and I get
65.
$75 every 3 months.
You get it.
You and I
And I
had
have enough, but I get like
Blue
$20.
Cross and Blue
Blue Cross Blue
Shield.
Shield, yeah,
You're
it's
staying
Keystone
with it?
65.
You're staying with it?
Now they changed it
I got
to
the book looks good, I think.
Yeah, I'm staying
Okay.
with
But
it.
I'm gonna check with Jim when he comes.
that
over, so I'll let you
silver
know.
Silver script? Aetna?
No, I don't use that silver script.
Okay.
No, I just have it.
We're in Montgomery County.
It depends on your county.
You have to check with your county, our premiums are free
Oh.
for,
Yeah.
we're in Montgomery County, I don't know if you're in
Well, the
Philadelphia.
plans we chose, we don't have any monthly premiums.
They actually pay us to be in it.
Not really.
Go
I-
figure.
I-
They
I-
do, they
I
give
pay.
us
Well, you know,
$60
they give you
every 3 months.
Yes, in that respect.
That's a
I
payment.
didn't want them to make it less.
No.
Huh.
There's some very good plans out there, and we're
Yes.
told that they've even improved them for this year.
Mhm.
So really look into your options.
That's
Are
right.
you all Philadelphia County?
Montgomery.
Montgomery?
Montgomery.
Montgomery, okay.
And
Well, I have a representative, a person
Yeah,
that I used, Jim
Back in
Malone,
the Medicare book.
and he will
Yeah.
come to your home,
Thank you.
and he'll go over what all your needs are, your prescriptions, your doctors, and then he'll tell you what plan is best for you, where he'll make a suggestion.
Just remember, they get paid for switching you every year. Remember that.
Well, I don't care if they get paid,
No,
it's
but
like
I'm
you're doing
saying
a service, it's
They're
their job.
doing this so that they get paid.
Yeah, I have somebody that comes to the house.
Well,
It's not, it's a
I
different
go
person.
online, I talk to her online.
But, you know, don't forget, it's by the end of, I think, October, that you have to make a choice to change. You think it's December
between
31st?
October and December.
Second,
Yeah.
it's
It's quite a long enrollment.
December
period.
2nd, it's
Yeah.
like a 2-month period.
And that's why you're getting all this stuff in the mail now.
And you'll be getting ads on the TV
Yeah. right.
infinitum
Exactly.
or ad nauseum.
Ad nauseam.
The Keystone 65 plan is, PPO plan is terrific.
Yeah, we're on that.
Well,
And we even get dental. I get,
Oh, yeah, we're taking her time.
I thought you
No,
wanted
I
suggestions.
wanted discussion and any questions that anybody has brought up.
Talk about this.
All right.
That's what we came to
Yeah.
hear.
In
Oh.
other words,
Okay.
our thinking is this,
How can you help us stay in our happy home?
as opposed
Okay.
to going to a facility that are so expensive,
Where I'm wavering going to a retirement community.
All right. All right.
I want you to convince me not to.
Well, that's what I tried to do, and that's what I thought the last year and a half kind of did, that you're safer at home. I believe.
And lonely though. Lonely and isolated.
Come to see me
When you
get
live
lonely.
alone.
Mhm.
You're married, you're a totally different
Right.
animal.
talking about safer because of COVID in your home or just safer? I didn't quite understand why would be,
I was
Why are we
talking
safer?
about safer because of COVID.
well, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
that's really something that hopefully will be with us the rest of
Hopefully
our
not.
lives,
Right.
so.
But you are raising the point that there is socialization in a facility.
Right.
And Human Touch Home Care takes care of people wherever they live. Some of them live in their own, strictly speaking, home, and others live in Masonic Village or Cathedral Village, and other life care communities, and that's their home.
Why would you need double fees, and why would you need, if you live in a
Well,
place, why would you need to pay your company to take care of us?
some of the people who live in facilities, continuing care retirement communities, don't really want to go to the skilled nursing or the personal
Or the
care.
assisted living, they don't really want to
But we
leave
have
there.
to remember, even in our own home, that can happen, that you have to go
That's right.
into
No, but
nursing home.
that's different. I was asking the
I mean,
question.
eventually,
These
we're
are-
all gonna wind up there.
These are, we're talking
No,
about people
you don't have to.
who are in a facility, and you say they might also want your services.
Absolutely.
That seems redundant financial expense.
Well, it's a lot
Absolutely.
cheaper to have human touch come in than it is to go to assisted living or skilled nursing.
Unless you go to
No,
it,
not
unless
if
you
you go to
a
Axe.
Human
It's
touch,
in
by the
all
way.
inclusive.
CCR community, you go in and you stay throughout all of your levels of care.
Until you croak.
Yeah,
Right.
so you don't pay more depending on your need.
Now, may I say one thing?
Yes.
Yes,
At
please.
Human Touch, we have people who come in by the hour, but we also have people who live in. They will go and live in
Oh,
with
really?
they live in.
Oh, yeah.
And they stay with you in your home.
So if you need
24
them
hours
to
a
live
day.
with you for a week or two, they would
Absolutely,
do that?
absolutely. And then we take care of people until they take their final breath in their own home with hospice services that come in, and the live-in caregiver is there with them.
What are their
Because
fees
that's
like?
the choice
Here
they
they
make.
are, your fees.
These are on
That's
the
the choice they make.
Where was
Right
that?
here.
But I also want to clarify that if you go into a continuous care community,
Yes,
there are a lot of people who do, in fact, have private duty caregivers come into the
Wow.
facility.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it's a fairly
Why
big
is
part
that?
of my business.
Because why aren't
Because
they
they
taking
don't
care
want
of
to go into assisted living. They want to stay
in their apartment?
yes, they want to stay in their apartment and independent.
no, you. I
They
thought
don't
you
want
were
to go
talking-
into assisted, and the facility says to them, okay, you can stay in your apartment, but only if you get care. You have signed off some of your
Yes,
freedom.
because they'll move you out of your apartment.
Correct. And there are
and
people who
get
don't
rid of
want
your
to.
stuff.
Yeah,
Well, that's
While
wonderful
you're
for
there,
people
that's
who
good to
can
know.
afford
there are
it.
people who don't want to do that.
That's very expensive,
Yes,
because you're paying your monthly fee.
yes.
You've paid your admittance.
And you've hired a
And
private
you're hiring
caregiver.
You people, wow, that's a lot of damn money.
Yes.
Well, we don't have to worry about it, we don't have it.
I'm just
Well,
saying,
there are. That's
I
a
think
very
you-
good point.
I think your stress
Very good
should
point.
be, we can help you never have to move to a facility.
That is
That's true.
correct.
And
That is our
to me
focus.
more important than, that other thing is a little disconcerting.
A lot of people can't afford to go into a continuous care
I have
community.
a
I can't.
Question.
They're very expensive.
Right,
If you have long-term health care insurance.
But I could stay at home.
Is
with
any of
help
that
from Human
covered by
Touch.
what you
that's a good
provide?
question, very good question.
Well, if you have long-term care health insurance, does Human Touch,
Yes. Yes. Some of our clients have long-term care insurance
Yeah.
policies, quite a few of them. And they get a benefit.
But you don't get much.
Oh, yes, it depends on your policy.
Yeah, it depends on your, I only get $50 a day.
I think a lot of people have more than that, have maybe $100
Well, I
a day.
can afford it.
Yeah.
Well, I
Right.
think if you,
But it's
which company?
something.
if you're in a
Uh,
hospital
yeah.
and then you come home and you need care, I think that's covered or partially covered from your insurance. They do have in-home care. In fact, I was just looking at the book today. When you, depending on what your illness is and whatever it is,
Mhm.
sometimes they'll even provide meals and stuff for you.
Yeah, I saw
Deliver
that.
meals. I mean, there are a lot of things you can look
That is
into.
an insurance, and you have to pay a premium.
Also,
And because we're old, it's a pretty hefty
the
premium.
home care,
Yeah, it is.
the home care that is provided when you leave a hospital and go home is skilled
Medicare.
care. It's paid for by Medicare, and
Yeah.
it's RNs,
For a
LPNs,
certain amount of time.
and,
though.
and PTs, and they come maybe an hour a week or 3 times a
Right.
week for 2 hours, only for a few weeks. If you need custodial care, you've gotten old and frail and you need some help, that's what we do. And it can be, you can have care 1 day a week for 4 hours, you can have round-the-clock care.
I
For
imagine
living.
your services, like Griswold.
Yes,
When I was taking care of
yes,
my husband who passed away,
yes,
I had Griswold a lot. I paid.
Yes.
They were fantastic.
yes.
They would stop at the food store. They'd pick up stuff. They would cook meals. They would provide,
Well, that's in here.
shower him, clean. I mean, they were
What
fantastic.
did they do different than this company would do?
It's
No, it's the same.
It's the
the
same.
same. It's just a different.
But it was
company.
years ago and it was cheaper, but now
I-
the fees are.
It wasn't that cheap, but it was very well because I worked, and I couldn't be there a lot, so it cost me a lot of money. But you can do it, and it was well worth it.
If you have a
really.
good caregiver, it is an absolutely wonderful
I
experience.
think the people who do that really love other
They're
people. They
saints.
really care.
There's no question.
And I have never had one of them that I can say I wouldn't trust with everything in my house. You know, I never had anything stolen. I mean, I guess I was lucky because I wasn't there. And, you know, there are people that are just dedicated and really want to help others, I think.
That's right.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
From your experience, how long does a person need this care?
It depends on why they have it. If they had a hip replacement or a knee replacement like my husband does, they might only need it for a month, and then get better. But if they are elderly and frail and have chronic conditions, they may have some confusion, they may just be up in years and now, for the first
That's
time,
depending
need
that
help
your
with
children
bathing and dressing.
Will spring for this, right?
Sometimes they will.
That's what I mean, or they'll park you in Artman and nursing
Yeah,
home.
yeah. Well,
That's why people like to make their own plans.
That's right.
That's what I mean.
people want to make their own
Absolutely.
plans. And I think home care is the future.
This is definitely,
I do, to get back to the pandemic, I think it did show the flaws in institutional care.
I know.
There's
These,
certain areas that you handle.
places we were, those actually, they're 3,000 a
All
month.
of Montgomery
Think
County.
about it.
2,700.
Or 27, if you
Wow.
started saving whatever you think you may need in the future, it's a good idea maybe if you can do it, have a separate account just for emergencies, for where
Right.
you really need the
Right.
care. You don't have to grab it all at once, put away a little bit at a time now. That's what I do. I try to always,
Great.
a little bit at a time, so I have a reserve for important things like that,
Sure.
you know.
My neighbor got in Horsham, he retired, he's a widower, and he kept looking at different places, and he ended up with a place in Horsham for $1,000 a month. He said, it's beautiful, Horsham. I
What's
don't
it
know,
called?
I wish I knew, well, I have to call him and ask, now he had to have back
Is it-
surgery.
Is it total care? Some places are
They
pay as
have
you go.
nursing next door if he gets, he needs nursing home care.
Horsham,
attached to a
Horsham has
nursing home.
And that will
the
then
Abramson
you will pay
Center
more.
You will pay
and
more.
whatever's
Then you
next
pay,
door to the
like your
Abramson
mother,
Center in Horsham.
$6,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, that's-
a
that-
lot,
Yeah, usually they're very expensive.
Whereas with the Axe, you go in, you pay your monthly fee, they can't kick you out if you run out of money.
Yeah, that's
I'm
great.
not an advertisement for
We
them,
have,
Right.
we
but I have
have
a friend that lives there.
and another
all
friend
of us.
going in.
And that's the plus of a non-for-profit.
It's
They do not
right.
kick you out, it doesn't matter.
You do pay,
You
she
pay your-
paid $110,000 for a one
Right.
bedroom,
Right,
and now she pays $2,700 a month
Mhm.
for life care,
Right.
life.
right,
However, you have to be approved to go in.
yes.
Right,
You can't go in when you're at
Sick and
death's door,
senile,
you
Right.
know? You have to go in when you're able to care for yourself. I think it's 90%.
And your memory is still there
And I
too.
think what,
Yeah.
I want to give you your due here, because your services are for people who do not want to leave their home.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's just that, that's
Exactly.
important, because there are people who don't wanna leave their home,
Right,
they'll be dragged out,
right, for emotional,
So-
spiritual,
for whatever
safety,
reason.
whatever, they want to stay
I
in their
don't
own
wanna
homes.
leave either.
My
You
mother
don't have to.
never left, but actually she was forced because they said to us, and we weren't neglecting my mother, we were always there, but they said, you cannot have her live alone.
Well, that's what happened to me
So
too.
her options, our
Which
options
they
were
forced me
find her a
too.
lovely place,
Sure.
Right,
or have people come in.
a live income and stay
My
with them.
mother was not the kind of person to tolerate or accommodate people in her home. You probably experienced
Yes, we
this.
have.
She would fire every week. I'd get a call, come down, I'm getting rid of this lady, and you've got to get her
Oh,
to
boy.
Philadelphia on the
I don't
bus.
like her
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just was horrible.
Yeah,
Well, if you're sort of capable of doing some things and you use a service like this, you could have them come in the morning, they could help you shower, get dressed, get your
exactly.
breakfast, and they could really even prepare your a
Your
dinner
dinner.
that you
That's
could
right.
just maybe microwave or something.
Sure.
So really, you don't have to have them all day unless you're really bedridden. You really could just pay a few hours a day.
That's what most people do.
And that's
people
what I used to do.
A few hours a
And
day.
I found it to be
And she
wonderful.
took wonderful care of her deadbeat husband who divorced her.
He didn't divorce me. No.
Yeah, you divorced them.
9.5 years I took care of him
Aw,
after we had been split up
aw.
for several years before then he got
You
sick.
see that halo? She deserves
Yeah.
it.
Anyhow, I found all different ways to be able to still keep my job, take care of him, and then finally.
With that service, it was
with
wonderful.
that service, right, and then he was actually on and off hospice. He was on and off hospice for like 1.5 years or 2 years, which I never heard of.
Mhm,
As soon as you thought he was
mhm.
Yeah.
down and out,
Right,
He would
all of a
be
sudden,
right.
Get a
yeah,
second
back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that
That
you
does
can
happen.
do. Being in those long-term facilities like we're talking about are wonderful, but they're extremely expensive.
Yes, they are.
And you have to really want to live in a group setting, and not everybody does want to do. I love my own privacy. I love to look at my birds,
Not
my
me.
flowers, and I think it would be hard to live in a
That is
little
a
room.
beautiful
Not only
testimony.
that, but
For
with
human
COVID,
touch home
people
care.
have been stuck in their room. They haven't been able to go out of that
Oh,
door.
that's a good point. They
But
literally
then again, I was
were
stuck
locked
in
in
my
their own
house.
home, in their own.
Nobody came to see me.
Well, that's because of COVID, Maria.
Well, I'm
Otherwise, we
saying,
always got
Pat
together.
was in the retirement home.
Yeah.
Yes, she was in her apartment, but we all were
Well,
stuck.
Maria,
We all were
look what
stuck.
happened to them during COVID. They
Yeah.
couldn't go anywhere. They
Yeah.
couldn't go out of. They were really prisoners.
They
could
were-
not go
they
I
were
was
anywhere.
a
prisoners.
prisoner of my
You
home.
could have,
No, you could
It was
still
but
go
bigger.
out.
people could
Yeah,
walk
it was
out into
bigger.
their yards and
They
garden.
couldn't
Yeah.
leave.
And they went out
couldn't
into
go
their
out
yards
of
and
their
gardens.
room at
They
all.
literally
They
couldn't
delivered
leave.
food to them. They couldn't have anybody in. They couldn't go visit anybody.
And
Well, that was us.
I do some
That was us.
Yeah, that wasn't
Not the
us at
same.
all.
You
More
were
people
different
using
story.
mobile.
You went. I
Now,
didn't go
the
squat.
COVID.
But if you had a garden,
Because they were stuck in the
Well,
rooms,
she's
they
on the
couldn't get
first
out
floor
and
with a
do
patio,
exercises or
so.
anything.
okay.
That's right, that's
And
right.
so, all the
That's
walkers
my
are free.
former
You
now.
could get out and just
Just
go
like
to
No
the
matter
grocery
which
store.
way you look at it, you're
It's
gonna
a
have
big
some
decision.
advantages and
It's a
some
big
disadvantages
decision.
to both things. There's nothing that gives you everything.
It's a
No.
very personal choice.
It
It's a
is.
very personal choice. What we were talking about
No,
was
this is wonderful. I'm
whether,
glad I came to
whether you
get
want
this.
community living, if you want to be back in the dorm, like when you were in school or whatever, or if you want to be independent in your home that you've loved and lived in all your life.
Yeah,
or
but now
whatever.
it's a money pit.
So,
Well,
You know,
that's a
there's all those-
consideration.
it's all those things. It's a lot of decision making.
Oh,
But
no
with the
kidding.
survival guide, you can, no matter what you decide, you can look at this over and give to your family or your caregivers or whoever.
That's wonderful.
You know, the
There
parts
are
that,
contractors who specialize in something called aging in place.
There are contractors who specialize in universal access.
Well,
Do you mean universal access?
I've heard the phrase, and if you go on the internet, it's called aging in place.
Aging in place.
What do they do?
Well, there's certain things like you've listed for us here, which is very wonderful.
They make the
The
bathroom
grab
wheelchair
bars, the
accessible.
bathroom, wheelchair
Yes.
accessible, where the lighting is, but they're
Yes.
certified, perhaps
Yes.
even by this association.
yeah, I think so.
Yes,
And
yes. I
You
think
don't know
Hearth
anybody like that,
Builders,
do
you
you?
know,
it's
big
called
one
aging
around
in-
here.
Aging
Do you?
in place, so they
What?
help
Do
you.
you know anyone like that?
Yes, I think Hearth Builders has a whole page on their website
Yeah.
about aging in place and universal access.
Yeah.
It's one of their big
Are they
things.
local?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not cheap.
Is your
Nobody
place
is cheap.
local? Where are you
In
located?
Flowertown.
Pardon me?
Flowertown.
Oh.
We're in Flower
Flowertown.
Town.
Are
Around
you
the
in
corner.
Flowertown?
We're
So-
around
No, I don't have
the
my
corner.
glasses on.
Oh,
I
well,
can't
then
see.
I'll
Okay.
read
So-
it for you.
What
All
we
right.
do is from Huntington Pike to the river.
And there's a surcharge if you're beyond.
Yes,
Right,
if you're
and-
beyond,
Do you need a lot of
We
notice
go
if you
up
need
to-
care or no?
Butler
the more
Pike
you can give, the
to Center
better.
City.
But a day or two works.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
It's
We
good to
take
know.
care of Flat, yeah.
A day or two, but the longer would be better.
And the
Okay.
nice thing I would say too about your service is it could be up, and then you go back to your home, you still feel you need a little help, you can help us out. Yeah.
How do you feel about those electric stair things?
What is your advice about
Judy.
stair?
Chair
Stair
glides.
climbers.
Stair glides, I think
they're great. I particularly
too.
think they're great if your laundry is in the basement. Exactly, because you said that, so get it from the first floor down to the basement.
The toilet's on the second floor and the basement,
Yeah.
and the laundry's down there. I got
Yeah.
2 flights of stairs.
Well, get
Yeah.
two,
But you've had people
absolutely,
success with that?
Well,
absolutely.
my mother used it for years.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
And I
Maria,
always
you
told,
should do that now, get it in there.
Well,
I
it's
always-
an expense, Lydia, I gotta fix the damn stucco now.
I always encourage
Okay,
people who had their
that's true.
laundry in the basement to, go down and then when you finish the washing, put on the thing, send it up.
Right.
So you put it, send it up on the chair
I've
glide.
used it for about 6 years.
I know you
Absolutely.
can buy used ones too, they don't have
Yes,
to
you
be
can.
brand new. But you have to have your walls reinforced, you have to have a special outlet, so that's an expense prior. They're not that expensive, you can get them for $1,000, but there's $1,000 in back work first.
Mom
Yes.
didn't have to do any back work, she just had the special plug, battery, because God forbid you lose your electricity.
Yeah, you-
Right, right,
Well, I
right.
have a Generac now.
Well, hers, this unit comes with a battery thing.
Yeah, and if you have a
It's
straight up and down,
Yes, it's cheaper.
cheaper than if you
Yeah,
have
mine is straight up and down.
if you have a landing.
Ah,
My mother's had a landing, so hers was about 3,000 or 4,000, but she got many years out of it.
Yeah,
yes.
And then when she died, we wanted to sell for me. Nobody wanted the damn thing, you couldn't even give it away.
No.
That seems strange, but we wanted to.
And yet there's places online that sell used.
I know where I was, they didn't.
Where the heck did they get them?
Yeah.
I'd hate to say.
I don't know.
I don't want to answer that.
I never thought I'd be looking at this though.
But you think that
Of
you
course not.
mentioned in your presentation.
But I'm glad I'm here to do it.
One of
Yeah,
your, one
you know?
of your things was, I thought was key, because we had that problem. My mother's washer and dryer was in the basement,
Mhm.
and we had to automatically, she couldn't do, that's where she was in most danger.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
yes.
I know Maria has.
I looked into it, it's 20,000 to move the washer and dryer upstairs.
Upstairs to
And
the
how about
bathroom.
if you got a
No,
stackable?
to just the first floor.
A
And the
stackable?
stackable, with the stackable, but just the.
Even in the, even in the,
Remember, I have a darn cinder block house. It's
Well,
not
you
good.
know,
Oh,
a suggestion though, before we get too far,
Yeah.
with the washer and dryer. We have, Market East has a laundromat, and the van picks up your, because if you live alone, you can't have that much laundry. It's just that your
Yeah.
sheets, you're not
Correct.
going out, so you don't have that much.
Personal
And they can pick your laundry up and
Who's
do it.
this, who's this?
Well, Market East is, there's laundromats everywhere, they have vans, and they will pick up, just like food, they'll
I
shop
never
for.
heard of this.
Yeah, and they'll pick
That
up,
should be on here. Pick up the laundry.
yeah, and they can pick
is
you
that
up.
a service
You
that
should not
will
have
pick
to
up
do
the
your own
laundry?
when you get a certain
That's
age,
part of what
right?
she
They
lives
pick
on.
up your laundry.
I
Yeah,
never heard of
I
it.
mean, you did it
Never
all
heard of
your
that
life,
service.
you shouldn't have to
Well,
do your own laundry.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
You
well,
know, I think in this world, there's services
Pick up
for
laundry.
anything.
sure.
If you have
There
the
certainly
money to
are
pay for
now.
it.
Yeah.
And the ability
There's
to
an
find
app
it
for
on the
that.
internet.
Only in a-
Start right there. and
So my
And I
question,
even use it now
Philadelphia,
because
though, right?
I don't do the heavy rugs in my washing machine, so I'll send it up. And they weigh it for you, it's usually about $20.
So you're in Philadelphia.
Yes.
This service is in
Mount Airy,
Philadelphia.
yes, Mount Airy.
okay, so you don't have to live in a certain apartment complex.
No.
It's a
I love
nice
this.
That is the
service.
world's best kept
love
secret.
Sure,
I
pick
love
up
it.
and.
Now, when I was a child in Atlantic City, where I lived with my aunt and uncle, they were business people, they always had their laundry picked up, washed and
Yes.
delivered and
Yeah,
ironed.
they'll
Growing
fold it
up,
for you and
We
everything,
did
yeah.
do that. We had the man deliver my
Right.
dad's sheets,
We
we had
always had
shirts
it.
to the
You
house.
stamped your name on everything and they brought it back.
Well, it's just like, I remember my mother on Saturdays would make the list. I'd take it over to the store, leave it on the counter in the afternoon. The kid came by with a wagon and there was the food. Now,
great.
our children and
Now we do
grandchildren
that.
think it's so new.
Yeah.
Well, I did have my food delivered though during COVID
Yeah, well,
by
sure.
the
Right.
advocate.
Richard, Maria, your son comes every week. If you couldn't do your laundry, while he's there having dinner, he could throw the laundry in. You really could, it's no
I
big deal.
could, but
I'm saying if you ever
You know,
got stuck,
I would rather do this.
yeah.
Pick up the laundry, do it, bring it back.
Yeah.
So there's an app for your laundry, I didn't know
Excuse
that.
me, you should check into Orland, I think they do it by weight.
Yeah,
Orland
they
laundry?
do it by weight,
Yes.
yeah, they do.
Oh, I love
I guess
this.
they all do it by weight, yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you, I'm gonna go home and revise
Yeah,
this.
well,
I love this.
Me
This is
too.
absolutely, that would save me from
Me too.
the fear of dropping dead down the basement and
Yeah.
nobody will find me.
Exactly,
You got that?
exactly.
Well, now I feel better with that pendant.
It would save your son the fear
Yeah.
too.
Or
Yeah.
$17.75 an hour, you have to be 4 hours.
Yeah,
They'll come over, do your
everything,
cleaning and do your laundry.
do a lot of cleaning.
Right, so you can always do that too,
They're not gonna do a
really.
lot of cleaning, but
That's
they
what I'm saying,
will do
I'm
your
doing what
laundry.
Cousin said it
This
is.
is almost like my way.
They'll do your
You
laundry.
don't have to
and-
be sick to use this, do you?
No, you
No?
just
Yeah, but
need
they don't-
some help. It's not a cleaning service, but they will do
No, I know
laundry
that.
and
they
they'll do
don't
meal
do silver
preparation
and brass
and they'll
at
change your
windows.
bed and put sheets on
No.
it.
That's the old cliche, we don't do.
But let's just say you have sciatica or you have a bad shoulder, you
Oh,
know how to,
absolutely.
and you can't really do some of that light housekeeping like that, they would do that too, I guess,
They
right? A
will,
4-hour minimum.
they're not in place of a cleaning service, but they will
They're not in
do,
place of the cleaning service.
but they'll do your laundry, your meal
I
prep.
still can't, I can't
They'll
hear
change
her.
the sheets on your bed for you. They're not gonna clean the whole house.
No, they're for occasional, if
Yes.
you're incapacitated.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, it's good to know.
I know Mount Airy
A
used
lot
to
of
have,
information.
services called My Way.
Yeah,
And
that's what they
seniors,
both got.
you know, seniors used to come and
They
I used
told
to
me
use
they
it.
won't come to my house and I finished 2
They're
miles
out of
from
business.
that.
They're
out of business
business
now?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out
They
of
kept going
business.
up and up.
COVID
But is
put
that-
them out of business.
Oh, excuse me, is that how much you charge, $17 an hour?
I used to-
$17.75 an
I
hour.
don't know for
I didn't
years.
see
Unless you're
Did you
out
get
of
a
our
little
service
flyer?
area.
You didn't get there.
There it is.
No,
There
no,
it
it's
is.
over here.
There it is, over there.
Over there.
No,
Oh, here it is. Oh, I'm
There it
sorry.
is.
Thank you. I didn't see that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
my-
subject
my
to
way
going
is-
up,
is-
probably.
Unfortunately, out of business.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it's a shame, I use their services a lot.
I
It
did too. Yeah.
It was really
you
a
guys
very
kept them in
interesting.
business.
I don't think that, obviously we.
Lydia did.
I used them a lot. I had 2 different people that I used. One was a gentleman that I had for many years to do yard work, bringing in, like, I keep a lot of stuff outside for the, I don't know what, the only word I can think of is the Jewish word, tchotchkes outside, but they get heavy to bring in and out at the seasons.
Mhm.
And, you know, I had them to do a lot, I'd say more like with yard work. At Christmas, I would have them bring my things up in the basement that I couldn't carry, you know, and bring them down. They were, whoever I had was fabulous. I loved them.
And you don't have anybody now?
No, she does.
You do have somebody else?
people now.
Okay.
Well, I have somebody that does light gardening and stuff like that for me. And
So do we. He lives in
it's
Roxborough.
just a girl that, I found her actually online a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I just started, I know she needs the money and I need the help, so
Mhm.
I had her recently even help me like organize my garage a little bit.
Mhm.
She's gonna come over tomorrow and help me do like a pantry. I have a bad shoulder and I really can't do much with it now.
Right.
And so just like little things, maybe just like 2 or 3 hours a week, but it's a big help to me though.
If you're
That's
doing
great.
your cabinets in the kitchen and all that stuff, put the stuff that you need down the lower parts or
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to.
along the counter
Yeah.
in jars or something, you know, like your cereal and your bread and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I can reach everything, but I'm a hoarder as far as buying too much food, so my cabinets are loaded with stuff. Half the time things are in the back and I can't find them. So
Right.
I need to take everything apart periodically and see what the hell I have.
Yeah, gotcha.
And donate it.
I do
I know
actually
you
do,
do.
I donate a lot
Yeah.
of food
I
too,
was just gonna
really.
say, donate what's not
Mhm.
expired.
But I'd like to say our next door neighbor, the husband died, I believe, 96, and then
God
the
bless.
wife at 92, she went into Miriam Shore, independent living style. But before she did the community, I lived next door to her, so I would do her shopping. She wanted orange juice and bananas all the time. But anything else she wanted, and they had another couple on the other side. I lived in a twin. The other side was a retired nurse. She did loads of shopping for her. We all stepped, everybody on that
Oh,
side of
that's
the street, we
wonderful.
stepped in. She didn't have to do, the only thing we didn't do was clean her house, and everything just piled up. So she did get someone to clean, light cleaning, and stay with her, because I was still working, but, the neighborhood we just gathered around, and we pitched in, gosh, I guess about 3 years before she decided to go
That's
to Marion
wonderful.
Shore. But then to say this, it's no guarantee wherever you go that you're gonna like it. She wants to come, the house is not sold yet, so she wants to come back. And we will step in and we will do for her, but she's getting really frail with osteoporosis, and we don't want her to fall.
Right.
But she hates where she is. So, it's no guarantee you're gonna get in a place where
There
you're.
never is.
Do any of you belong to the northwest or northeast
No.
community?
The village
Village?
network.
The villages?
Northwest Village Network.
Wonderful thing. Because we don't live in that area.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were in Philadelphia or not.
I
We're
think
in
that's,
Orland.
I think that's the ideal. That combined with home services like you provide. Because you're all working together to help one another.
Yeah.
I think you can join Northwest Village Network. I don't think you have to
I
live.
thought it was, I.
Call them and ask them.
That's interesting.
Reach out and
What do
ask,
they
I live in
do?
Orland, can I
What
join?
do they do?
I admire that whole concept.
I love that concept.
What do they do?
Northwest Village, those village to villages, it's a support group for people who want to stay in their own homes
Okay.
and not go into a nursing home. And they will they'll pet sit for each other, they'll provide transportation.
Swap services.
They-
It's like an extended, nice neighborhood
Yeah.
that you're describing.
Yeah,
It's a
Most of us
community.
don't live in that kind of
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
It's a community.
Yeah.
And we have handyman that's down the street. My husband, before he passed, he said he's Leroy, and Leroy came over, and I got an estimate to paint the outside of my house, just the bottom part, and the, one person wanted $1,000, and Leroy did it for $200.
You do need
So-
to get estimates.
And they
need
said, this is what we do for our neighbors. And
Right.
so,
It's
and
great.
you get breaks like that.
I am so sorry.
I think, like, this is wonderful because we're sharing information.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
more we share, we don't
Right.
stay secluded in the home, like, you're helpless, you're not. None of us are. And there's more resources. The older population is getting more, we're all
They're
aging
getting
in place.
recognized.
And the more knowledge is power. And,
That's right.
and know that it's more than one or two options.
It's interesting, just sharing a little bit of information that we
Right.
did today with one
Right.
another.
And like I was teaching silver sneakers before COVID, but I'm also taking classes. I don't feel like I know it all, so I don't want osteoporosis. So I'm taking a class in October with a lady that wrote a book and she tells you how to not fall and keep your bones strong.
Yeah.
And because I have osteopenia, but it's getting better, so you don't want to get osteoporosis, and that's falling. Falling, I think, is one of the, where it's hazardous.
That's what does people in, old people, if they fall, generally, they can have successful outcomes, but it's the hardest thing, I think.
Well, this has been fantastic, just getting
Thank
together
you.
like
Thank you so
this
much for
and
coming.
sharing
It has been
ideas.
wonderful.
Thank you, I learned a lot. Thank you so much. And you can reach out if you
I
have
think this is a
questions.
wonderful service, wonderful
Yes, thank
information.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
We're not gonna all live forever after you.